Haven't you cleaned the bathrooms yet? I knew you were worthless. You're useless. My name is Camila, and my story begins with the illusion of a fairy tale and then turns into a nightmare of humiliation. I'm married to Peter. We're like soulmates, complementary in love, united by dreams and plans. But life, that cruel teacher, decided to test us. I had lost my job and suddenly we found ourselves having increasing difficulty paying our household bills, and soon our car also had a mechanical failure. And then everything piled up, creating a scenario of despair. The only viable alternative was to accept Peter's mother, Mrs. Christina's, offer to move into her house. Mrs. Christina has always been an authority figure, with a difficult temperament and a critical eye. But I believed that, with time, we could build a more harmonious relationship. The reality, however, turned out to be quite different. Her house became a battlefield where I was the main victim. While Peter dedicated himself to work, constantly seeking resources to support the household, I was relegated to the role of maid. Mrs. Christina's constantly humiliated me with harsh criticisms and derogatory comments. Haven't you cleaned the bathrooms yet? I knew you were worthless. You're useless. She questioned my domestic skills, my ability to organize, my very essence, saying that I was useless and worse. I felt trapped in a nightmare with no way out, no hope. After all, without the means to leave her house, how could I end this humiliation? But I couldn't give in to despair. I needed to be strong for myself, for Peter, for our future. She insulted me when he wasn't around, and I preferred to keep him unaware of the situation so as not to worsen our coexistence in that house, which was the only place we could stay until then. While I was drowning in humiliation, Peter, oblivious to the situation, worked tirelessly, believing that everything was fine. I didn't want to burden him with my problems, but the pain was becoming unbearable. I tried hard to find a new job. Despite the difficulty and all the no's I received, it was my only way out. I needed to do it as soon as possible to regain my dignity. The interviews were frustrating, so many doors closed and hope was fading, but it never ended. But I didn't give up. One day I came across an ad for a job at a technology company. The field was new to me, but I had experience in administration and communications. I decided to take a chance. The interview was a success and I was hired. The job was challenging, but it gave me a sense of purpose and fulfillment. I dedicated myself to it to the fullest, learning everything I could, proving my worth. This job allowed me to go back to school. The nights of studying were long, but I felt alive again. Meanwhile, the situation at home was getting worse. Mrs. Christina's intensified her humiliations, trying to sabotage me to make me give up. She called me ambitious, ungrateful, a woman who abandoned her family. But I didn't let myself get down. I had a goal and nothing would stop me from achieving it. I remember one time when she hid my work shoes, forcing me to wear slippers to work. Or when she turned off the heater in the middle of the night, leaving me freezing in the bedroom. Small acts of cruelty that undermined my self-esteem, but also strengthened me. A few months passed and my efforts were rewarded. I received an invitation to a meeting with the company's board of directors. My heart raced, anxiety consumed me. But the news was incredible. I had been promoted to a management position in a branch of the company in France. I was overcome with joy, the feeling of victory was indescribable. I had overcome all obstacles, conquered my space, proven my worth. But the happiness was bittersweet. I knew that this opportunity would change my life. I decided to tell Peter about the promotion. He was surprised, proud, but also worried about the distance. We talked for hours, analyzing the possibilities, weighing the pros and cons. In the end, we decided that we would go together, that we would build a new life in another country. The news of our departure was a shock to Mrs. Christina's. She tried to stop us, used every possible argument, appealed to sentimentality. But our decision had been made. I would no longer be held hostage by humiliation and control, and we would no longer be stuck in the past. We would build our own future far from her influence. I remember the last night at Mrs. Christina's house. She looked at me with contempt, saying that I was ungrateful, that I was abandoning her family. I looked her in the eyes and said, "I am not abandoning anyone. I am only seeking the happiness that you denied me." The move was challenging but exciting. A new country, a new culture, a new beginning. We adapted quickly, found a cozy apartment, made new friends. My work was rewarding, challenging, and gave me the fulfillment I had been searching for. Peter found a job in his field, and together we built a happy, easygoing life free from bitterness. Mrs. Christina's tried to keep in touch, but we drifted apart. We needed space, time to heal the wounds of the past. We didn't hate her, but we needed to move on to build our own story. Life has taught me that strength lies in our ability to overcome challenges, to transform pain into learning, to rise from the ashes. I was reborn, stronger, wiser, happier. And now, with Peter by my side, I am ready to write a new chapter in my life.